Did you know that in 1975, a young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wanted to be traded to the New York Knicks? Jabbar was the reigning MVP. He had just led the Bucks to the finals in 74, where they lost to the Boston Celtics. It was his hometown. Kareem wanted to go back to New York, where he went to Power Memorial Academy in Manhattan. The Knicks turned down the trade, and why? They had a decent team. That's it. That was the reason. They had a decent team. Well, they had more than a decent team. Earl the Pearl Monroe, Walt Frazier, they won a title in 73 along with Willis Reed. And then Kareem's Bucks that year in 73 had actually lost in the Western Conference semifinals. Who they didn't have in 75 was Willis Reed, who had retired right after the 1974 season. And even if they had Reed, who was kind of on the tail end of his career, why not take Jabbar? If your team was decent, like they said, they would now be a really good team. So they definitely whiffed on that one. The next year, the NBA and the ABA merge, and the New York Knicks were a little upset that the Nets were cutting into their fan base and wanted compensation. What they offered was the contract of a young Julius Erving. Erving was a less of a proven commodity, but he did have an impressive background in the ABA. No real reason was to given as to why they turned that one down. We just know that they took cash instead, and the Sixers grabbed Erving, who led them to a championship in 83 and 3 trips out of 4 seasons to the NBA Finals. Now, up until this point, the Knicks were one of the best teams in the league. From 1966 until 1974, they won 2 championships, and they went to the playoffs every single season, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 of those years. But that changed almost immediately. From 75 until 86, they went to the playoffs only 4 times. They wouldn't see the NBA Finals again until 1994 when they lost to the Rockets. And let's be honest, it wasn't like they were getting offers for a Kareem and Julius Erving before they were anybody. Kareem in Milwaukee, he won an NBA Finals MVP in 1971 when the Bucks won the title. 71, 72, and 74, he was the league MVP. Oh, by the way, in 71, he was a rookie. And he averaged around 30 points a game and 15 rebounds. Dr. J, on the other hand, he had averaged a little over 25 points a game. He had played 2 seasons for the Virginia Squires before he got moved to the New York Nets. And in 74, he had won a championship, an ABA championship with the New York Nets. But in these videos, we asked the question, what if? What if the Knicks took those deals? And, oh, by the way, Moses Malone was offered to them as well in 76. They didn't take that one, but let's say they take that one again. What if, rather than trusting in what they called a decent team, what if they started investing into the future of their team? Now, honestly, we could also do another video, a what-if video for Dr. J if he had gone to the NBA when he was drafted in 72. Because in 72, he was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks, who at that time had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. So you got Jabbar and Erving on the same team earlier in their careers at that point too. But I do think that regardless of what happens, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is going to want to move back to New York. He's going to want to become a Knick at some point. So I thought that the scenario made more sense to do it in 75 rather than in 72. So here are the 3 biggest impacts of Dr. J and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar going to the New York Knicks in 75 and 76. Obviously, on this one, the Knicks are going to own the 70s. Here would have been New York's starting 5 from 1976 or 1975 until 1980. Now, we're going to add Moses Malone to them, which actually makes them kind of the first ever big 3 organically put together, not LeBron put together. They're coached by Red Holzman. He was the architect of the Knicks in the 60s and the 70s. He coached for the Knicks until 1982. And then that's when the wheels started to kind of come off. So here's that lineup. Coach Red Holzman has Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at center, Moses Malone at the power forward position, Julius Erving at small forward, and then he's still got Earl Monroe and Walt Frazier in the backcourt. Walt Frazier was the point guard. So here you have a team that's already won a championship in 73. They lost to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals in 74. And now you add a guy in 75 that just took that same Celtics teams to 7 games in the finals the year before, and it was with the Bucks. So they're going to win it in 75, beating the Golden State Warriors. Then they add Dr. J, who provides that youth and that spark that they need, kind of the way Magic was to the Lakers when they had Kareem. Now you have Earl Monroe as well to give the ball to, with that young Dr. J running around. So they take it in 76 and 77 because I do think that they are going to get past the Boston Celtics to get that title again in 76. And in 77, in the original history, the 76ers were led by Julius Erving and Moses Malone. They made it to the finals only to be stopped by the Portland Trailblazers and Bill Walton. And now you've got Kareem at center. He's a guy that can take on Walton. That gives them the edge. I'm going to go ahead and give them 77 as well. 78 and 79, I say they make it to the finals in both seasons. And just because we're not getting into fantasy world here, I'm only going to give them one of those two. So this is the 70s for the Knicks in this reality. 5 NBA titles and 7 trips to the finals, and they're a playoff team in every year. If that's not a dynasty, guys, I don't know what a dynasty is. Number 2, those great battles between the Celtics and the Lakers in the 80s, that actually never happens. Well, it doesn't happen near as much as it originally does. So Lakers versus Celtics, it defined an era. In a way, it saved the NBA. So in this new history, I think the NBA would have been saved by Kareem and Dr. J in the 70s. So as we go into the 80s, the Lakers had won 5 titles and 8 trips to the finals. They lost one of those to the Celtics, the other to the Sixers led by Dr. J and Moses Malone. And then on the other side, you had the Celtics. They won 3 titles and 5 trips, and they lost both of theirs to the Lakers. So between 1980 and 1989, there was not a single NBA Finals that did not have the Lakers or the Celtics in it. And when they did meet in the finals, they went to 6 games in 85, they went to 7 games in 84, and they went to 6 games in 87. So you're talking competitive, gritty type of basketball, fun to watch. You had the Laker fans on one side and the Celtics fan on the others, and everybody was kind of picking a side. It was an amazing rivalry that existed in the 80s. I hate to see it go, but it does kind of go in this one. The Celtics are the Celtics, but the Lakers are not going to be the Lakers. The Celtics are probably going to be battling the Knicks most of those years for the Eastern Conference title. I would say between 80 and 83, the Knicks go to the finals pretty much every year. I think they're going to win 2 of those. But from 84 to 87, you start to see Kareem and Dr. J getting older. It starts to decline. So, but from 84 and 87, maybe the Celtics take it in 84 like they did in the original history, and maybe they take on the Lakers and win it in 84. I don't know, because you can't just guarantee the Lakers are going to be in the finals that year, but maybe they are. So you do get a Celtics and a Lakers in 84. And then in 85, I would say that the Knicks get past Boston. They play the Lakers and Magic Johnson with Swin Nader in the center, and they get that final ring of the Kareem Dr. J era that would bring Kareem's total to 8 and Dr. J's to 6. The Lakers aren't going to have Kareem. Now, they might win 1 ring with Magic. Maybe they even take 2 against the Celtics. You can use your imagination from that one. But they're not going to get 5 without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So the 80s are much different. You're not going to have the Celtics and the Lakers doing the best of frenemies. It's going to be the New York Knicks. Number 3, Kareem is the GOAT. No arguments. No arguments whatsoever. Now, I believe that Kareem should already be in the GOAT conversation anyway, but a move to the Knicks in 75 would absolutely seal the deal. And why? Well, here's his resume. 8 NBA titles. You'll have 1 in Milwaukee and 7 in New York. And all the Jordan and LeBron fans are going to say that he needed Dr. J to win those titles, but MJ and LeBron also needed great players around them to win their titles, so it's kind of a hollowed argument. Kareem's also going to have 11 Eastern Conference championships. I'm going to give him 7 Finals MVPs out of that 8. Dr. J might take 1, but Kareem at the center of that team, I think he's going to get a 7 Finals MVP. Now that's going to give him 6 with the Knicks because he already had the one with the Bucks prior. 8 league MVPs. He already had 6 in the original history, but you put him on the Knicks in the 70s, and you got to give him at least a couple more. So 8 league MVPs, 7 Finals MVPs, 11 Eastern Conference championships, and 8 NBA championships. So no more of the most annoying GOAT debate ever between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, which has gone completely and totally too far. You're going to have one GOAT, and that's it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, that's it, guys. I think we're going to disagree about some of the specifics. Maybe you don't think that Moses Malone would come, or maybe putting Moses Malone there is a little bit too much. I don't know. But I think we can all agree that the Knicks would be a much better, much different franchise if they had made those 2 trades. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Drop the comments. Tell us what you think. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be putting out more what-if videos, more team name videos, and we've got some cool content coming up. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.